Congressman Paul, do you support a government program to stimulate the economy?
Well, government program is too vague. What kind of a government program? If it's appropriating money and trying to stimulate that way and spend more money, no, that would be the wrong thing to do. But a government program of a reduced tax burden, yes, that would be. Also, to solve this problem, you have to understand why we're in a recession. I believe we're in a recession. I think it's going to get a lot worse. If we continue to do the wrong things that we've done in the past, that it's going to be delayed, just as what happened in the Depression. But you have to understand that overstimulation in an economy by artificially low interest rates by the Federal Reserve is the source of the recession. The recession has been predictable. We just don't know exactly when it'll come. If you do the wrong thing, it's going to last for a long time. The boom period comes when they just pour out easy credit, and it teaches people to do the wrong things. There's a lot of malinvestment.
Congressman Paul, many of your supporters call themselves 9/11 truthers. They believe that the U.S. government was in some way complicit with the 9/11 attacks or covered it up. Are you tonight prepared to either embrace that rhetoric or ask those supporters to abandon it or divorce themselves from your candidacy?
Well, I can't tell people what to do, but I've abandoned those viewpoints. I don't believe that, and that's all. That's the only thing that is important, and so I don't endorse anything they say, but I would like to take an opportunity to talk about the issue that we've been debating here for the last 20 minutes.
Sir, would you ask them to cease that rhetoric? Would you ask them to cease that rhetoric tonight on your behalf?
Well, it doesn't do me any good, so if they care about me, they should. But the only thing I have control over is what I believe and what I say. I can't tell them what to do, so I don't endorse what they say, and I don't believe that. So please, could I participate in the current debate rather than sticking this out?
Please do. Please do.
No, I would like to address the subject about whether or not we've lost our way and whether there's a coalition building or whether it's gone. I think it's gone. I don't think we're fiscal conservatives anymore.
Congressman Paul, what if this happens again?
I would certainly urge a lot more caution than I'm hearing here tonight. It reminds me of what happened in the Gulf of Tonkin. We went to a war there, then later on found out there was a lot of false information. So here we have, let's put it in perspective, we have 5 small speedboats attacking the U.S. Navy with a destroyer. They could take care of those speedboats in about 5 seconds. And here we're ready to start World War III over this. And now, guess what? Today, the Navy commander of the 5th Fleet was on ABC and announced that, that voice might not have come from those vessels. So what does that mean? Was there a rush to judgment on this, ready to go to war? And there are people in this administration and in Washington, D.C. that are looking for the chance. They were so disappointed with the national estimate on intelligence, and they were disappointed that there's no attempt to build weapons in Iran since 2003. So what? I just don't see this rush to judgment.
Well, wait a minute. All of these people I've asked this question.
Congressman Paul, can we go back to the Middle East? You have said the United States should not be trying to broker peace between the Israelis and the Palestinians. Should the president even be there today, sir?
Well, if you followed my advice, yes, we wouldn't be there. We've been doing that for a good many years, and it hasn't seemed to come to success. No, I think if we weren't there, there'd be more incentives to come to a peaceful agreement. But we support both sides, not only with the Palestinians, but the Lebanese and all the Arab nations. We support Israel, and we try to have this balance. But I think it'd be much better to have a balance by being out of there. And I think there would be a greater incentive for Israel and the Palestinian and all the Arab nations to come together and talk, because I think we get in the way too often of these. And besides, it's costing us a lot of money. It's costing us lives now. And it's time that we come to the point where we believe the world can solve some of their problems without us. And also, we're out of money. We can't do it any longer. We're going bankrupt. And the empires of the world have always ended badly through economic terms. So whether there are peace agreements over there, for instance, if we would stop all aid over there, we would stop 3 times as much aid as Israel gets to the Arab nations. Why do we arm the Arab nations, and they're the enemies of Israel? but we continue to do that. So why don't we trade with everybody and talk with them? And there's a greater incentive to work these problems out. I think if we'd have been out of there a lot sooner, there may well have been a much different settlement after the Kuwait invasion, because Israel was quite capable of working with moderate Arab nations. They tried to. None of the Arab nations wanted Saddam Hussein in Kuwait. And I think they could have taken care of Saddam Hussein back then and saved all the mess that we have now, because I think there are so many unintended consequences and way too much blowback.
Could I just make a comment? I'm not interested in trading with Al-Qaeda. All they want to trade is burqas. I don't want to travel with them. They like one-way tickets.
Governor Huckabee,
may I answer that? May I answer that?
Yes, Congressman. Go ahead.
I'm talking exactly about that, because that's what we have been doing. We used to support Saddam Hussein, and we used to be allied with Osama bin Laden, and what I want to do is stop that. Who are our friends one day turn out to be our enemies. Right now, we finally got rid of Saddam Hussein, and what are we doing now? We're rearming the Sunnis, the old henchmen of Saddam Hussein, and what are they going to do with this? All
Congressman Paul, yet another question about electability. Do you have any, sir? There's always the question as to whether or not you are in fact viable. Your differences with the Republicans with the rest of the Republicans on this stage has raised questions about whether or not you can actually win the Republican nomination, sir.
Well, we've only had 2 little primaries so far, so it's pretty premature to decide which one is going to be the candidate. But, you know, when you think about it, if you measured everything I've ever said, every vote I've ever taken against the Constitution, you know, I'm a strict constitutionalist. Are you suggesting the Republicans should write me off because I'm a strict constitutionalist? I'm the most conservative member here. I have voted, you know, against more spending and wasting government than anybody else. So you're suggesting that I'm not electable and the Republicans don't want me because I'm a strict fiscal conservative? Because I believe in civil liberties? Why should we not be defending civil liberties? And why should we not be talking about foreign...
Congressman Paul, is denying a path to citizenship for people now in the country illegally important enough that Republicans are willing to concede the Hispanic vote to Democrats in November?
Well, I don't know that, but I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I do think we should enforce the law. And the law says that illegals shouldn't be here and that we shouldn't have amnesty. But I think this whole thing should be thought of more in economic terms. Maybe I think about economics too much, but there is something said in economics that if you subsidize something, you get more of it. And this is what we do. We encourage it by giving free medical care and free education and the promise of